There we go. And if you are a patron member, excellent connection. There we go. We're just getting up and going. The reason you're hearing the raw here of us getting up and going, this is not live, but we're still recording it on an unlisted link. The reason is because we are going to upload this into the back end of your patron account. So you are going to get this episode months before everybody else. We just got off the back of a live episode where we had live video chat with you and all that kind of stuff. But again, not every patron member can make those. So you are going to get this video broadcast and audio, of course, right in the back of your patron accounts months before the regular listening audience, as a thank you for your continued support of this platform and Law Abiding Biker Media. It's one way, with all the other benefits we provide, that we can say thank you back to you. So there you go. That's what's happening. So we're just going to dial a few things in here and we will get going here. Hey, Bikeaholics, Zero 3D has a wide variety of innovative products for your Harley-Davidson and a brand new line for the all-new Honda Goldwing named Gold Strike. I like gold. I like it. Top quality, affordable chrome lighting and comfort products. Zero Gold Strike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store and check out our full line of Zero 3D products. Got a voicemail.
Brian and the lab. I was just calling to let y'all know that I appreciate everything that y'all put out, and I was just going to tell y'all a little story. I'm a truck driver, and I was going through Biloxi, Mississippi, and I stopped at the Harley-Davidson dealership there, and there was a little bit older gentleman and his wife that was traveling down from Iowa. They were getting some highway pegs put on their bike. So the wife started unstrapping their bag off of their tour pack. You know, a bunch of rock straps and whatnot, having it strapped down. So I just took it upon myself. I just stopped and introduced myself. And I said, you know, would y'all like a better way of taking that bag on and off? So they was like, Lord, yes. So what I did was I just pulled up my cell phone and showed them the Law Abiding Bikers /store and showed them the Rick Rack. So they were very interested and very appreciative, and they said that they was going to purchase one. So I just wanted to share that little story. You know, I'm a patron, and I watch all the videos and listen to all the podcasts. I'm just out here on this road, and them podcasts get me through some long nights. So I just wanted to share that little story with you, and y'all have a good one. Bye.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. He is a patron member. I don't have a name, but thank you so much for leaving that. lawabidingbiker.com/contact or /voicemail. We're really looking here in 2021. We love the voicemails, guys. Even like that. It doesn't have to be a subject matter that we're going to do a whole episode on, but we love the feedback and we love voicemails because we get to hear your voice, and I know the listeners like voicemails. They're so helpful to put in like this. So thank you so much. Please, guys, head over there. If you have anything to say, just a thanks or a shout out or something funny, we just love the voice feedback. Of course, we love the email feedback too. It can all be found at lawabidingbiker.com/contact. And there's a voicemail button over there, or you can leave an email over there and we can see if we can work it in. But that's great feedback. And that is what is amazing and continues to grow within the Law Abiding Biker community. Absolutely. He took the time to go, hey, I see it's bikers helping bikers. And yes, I'm appreciative that he recommended our store, but more than that, he went over and saw a pain point with a biker, and he has some extra experience and knowledge. And he went over and showed them the Rick Rack solution, the quick detached strapless luggage system, of course, that we love and use and sell in our store, and gave them an alternative, of course, promoting Lab. We hope to get them as listeners and viewers and all that kind of stuff. But just the fact that he took the time, not only to help us, but to help other bikers out there that he saw on the road. And we appreciate it so much. And we shout out to all of our patron members and our audience, because we have a large audience that are professional truck drivers, because we have a lot of them and we've gotten to know many of you over time and in the private Facebook group. Thank you for what you do, for being out there out on the roads. And it makes us feel good. It makes me feel good to know that you're out there, and I know you're tired, and I know you're long hauling or whatever it is, and you can listen to us, and somehow we can help keep you entertained or provide you information, right? Hope it was informational. Hope it was entertaining. Hope we can infotain you.
Yes, sir.
There you go. And somehow keep you awake. I'm glad to hear we're not completely boring. I'm sure sometimes we are, but thank you so much. Very, very much appreciated. Want to ride longer, Lurch?
Yes.
Are you tired of a sore and achy ass?
Always.
I don't want to know how you got a sore and achy ass.
Don't
Just
ask.
leave it, but
No questions.
Then fix it with a high quality butt buffer seat cushion, like I know you did on your way to and back from Sturgis 2020.
Yes,
rocking the butt buffer. If you want to get more, guys, more information, head over, of course, to lawabidingbiker.com/store and check out our full line of butt buffer seat cushions, coming in with tons of 5-star reviews. We are selling the bejesus. I don't know how you sell bejesus, but we are selling the bejesus out of them.
Like hotcakes.
Like hotcakes. There you go. Oh, yeah. Once you've had Rick Rack, you'll never go back. The ultimate motorcycle luggage rack solution. Forget those messy straps and bungee cords. Go strapless with a Rick Rack quick attach luggage system and quality bag, just like our voicemail caller just said. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. Get hooked up now. Let's do this thing. Oh, look at that. Lurch is pointing out. We went and had a little, in between our live video broadcast and chat, we went and had a little
din-din.
Vietnamese feast.
Had some pho.
Some pho.
Had some pad thai. And whatever the other stuff was.
I don't know, but it's good.
Yeah.
I forget all the names. But yeah, we got full bellies. But the TV went off is what I was getting at. The monitor that I shared the screen with Lurch here, but it's back on. And I just want to welcome you back, you freaking bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the motorcycle majority, the Big MM, also known as the
99%.
large and in charge of the motorcycle scene more than any time in history, by being here, by listening, whether you like it or not. And I know you like it. We're part of what we call the hashtag
Biker Revolution.
We do have just one question for you before we get started. What are you waiting for, bikeaholics?
Mount up and let us take you on another wild-ass ride.
There you go. Ryan Erlacher here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker Podcast. And, of course, your
high-tech redneck.
little hot. Oh. I totally cut you off a little bit, but you still went through with it, bro.
Just, hey, once you're committed, you got to go.
Professional. That is for sure.
Can't stop me, can't get me down.
There you go, buddy. We got an awesome episode for you guys. And as I mentioned up front, it is awesome because this, not only am I so thankful for voicemails, just the thanks and the shout outs and all that kind of stuff. I am so thankful for the voicemails, that go to the level of actually creating a episode. And so this episode, the main topic is going to be all about dealing with toxic club members, or maybe it's a riding group or something like that. But a group of riders and a member that tends to be toxic, or maybe how to avoid those. And so what we're going to do is go through because we have quite a few years of clubs. We haven't talked about club stuff for a long time.
It's been a while.
It has. We used to cover a lot of it early on, and we covered so much of it that it's kind of been just evergreen content, and it's been there, and we refer people to those episodes. But this one question we hadn't actually had, and so it's a good time to revisit some club stuff, because I know a lot of you listeners out there are in clubs or want to start clubs or join a club. So hopefully this will be helpful, and we can put it on our list of evergreen episodes where next time somebody asks this question, we can simply refer them to a link. So we should have a pretty good conversation. And then we do have another topic, which I'm not going to mention because we may, or it's a short topic, but we may or may not get to it. Depends on time within this episode. New free video out on the YouTube channel. Been out for a while. Like to mention them for you guys. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel so you're notified. Hit that bell icon. You're notified when we come out with new free videos so you don't miss them. But this one is all about, it's a Hardy walk around. Zero 3D LED lighting extravaganza. Did you run the cam on that? Or did you do the live with me on that?
Most likely.
I think you did.
But I do not recall. As we've mentioned earlier, or you and I have decided earlier, my short-term memory's not that good. I would consider that a short-term memory, so I do not have it. I do know that we did a bunch of serial lighting on your bike and on Goat's brother's bike.
Let's
right?
just go
Goats.
down.
We did it on a shark nose. We did it on a bat wing, and we did a walk around kind of.
I'll tell you right now, if you recorded it,
that would be your bike.
That's my bike. So let's.
And you're talking, so there's a good chance I recorded.
I'll tell you right now. All right, hey bikeaholics, Ryan Erlacher here, lawabidingbiker.com. I'm just going to give it a second. This is a live. Yeah.
There's Goat.
There's Goat, and was that Big Daddy?
I think that was Brian. It's Big Daddy.
That's Big Daddy and Goat. So definitely you're recording.
These guys, you're buying from Law Abiding Biker Media.
Yep, that is Lurch running the cam. Anyways, it's all about, we've done separate videos and installs on all the lighting on my bike, but I basically just did a walk around and told you guys about it. And so we did a giveaway too, and that's long gone, but we did a giveaway on it, and I forget what we gave, but we gave probably lights of some sort.
Most likely some type of serial 3D lighting product.
Yeah, buddy. And so lawabidingbiker.com/0/3 and the letter D/LED/lighting, or it'll be in the show notes. lawabidingbiker.com/ whatever episode number this ends up being is how you always get to the show notes and things we talk about and quick links. Of course, depending on what podcast platform you're listening on, if it's Apple iTunes, you can just scroll down and the show notes are right there and you can click the links. Same with a lot of other podcast apps, including our own Law Abiding Biker app, which is at lawabidingbiker.com/app, APP. There's a bunch of links over there to get our podcast. We're also in Spotify, iHeartRadio. We haven't talked about that in a long time. Stitcher Radio, Pandora. We're everywhere.
You name it, we're there.
Pretty much. I stay up on that. I always have to stay up on it because there's always new platforms, and I try to get us wherever we can be to make it easier for you guys around the world to consume our content. We want to make it very, very easy. Now, we love our sponsors up front. But of course, these people are some of our newest beloved patron members.
Kiplin Rouse of McAllister, Oklahoma. Damian Ockhurst of County of Grand Prairie, Canada. And Damian is a top tier.
And moving on, Jason Chapman.
Hold on, I'm not done yet. You just settle down over there. Jackie Towns of Mooresville, North Carolina. Your turn, sir.
I was short on you there. Jason Chapman of Kyle, Texas. Quentin Heward. Bruce Wolf of Newton, North Carolina. Finish it off.
Steve Nugent of Carmichael, California. Rodney Tullingson of Gray, Tennessee. And Stanley Watson of Ann Arbor, Michigan.
lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. Pledge a certain amount per piece of content. No risk to you because you can put a monthly cap. There are benefits, t-shirt, stickers, private Facebook group. It is a troll-free zone. Nothing but bikers helping bikers get access to live video broadcasts and chat, access to our podcasts like this one months before everybody else gets it in your patron accounts, and for your top tier, access up to our premium videos upon request. There you go. Thank you to those folks ramping it up in 2021, stronger than ever. Gonna keep taking Law Abiding Biker to the next level. Strictly our base, our foundation is patron members. I'll tell you that right now, guys. Still is to this day. We have the store. Of course, we love the flat donations are great. We've got, YouTube and some other things, but by far, patrons are our crutch that allow us to continue to keep going and try to add new services.
They're the building blocks of our foundation that keep us level and keep us going. They give us a operating budget that we can count on to keep this thing going.
That's steady.
Steady.
Very nice, guys. Well said, Lurch. That's what he's here for. So let's listen to this voicemail is how we should start this.
Okay.
As this will kind of get us in, and then we're going to roll into the main topic and talk about this, guys. Here we go.
Hey there, Law Abiding Biker. Just wondering if you guys could do an episode on your podcast on how to deal with toxic members in your club, how to avoid them, and the vetting process of hang around and prospecting, as well as if they show their true colors, or sometimes people change after they become a member, how you identify them and deal with them. Love to hear from you. Thanks again.
Thank you, sir, for the voicemail. We really appreciate it. Again, lawabidingbiker.com/contact. Leave a voicemail from your computer, built-in microphone from anywhere in the world for free. It was that easy for him. And here it made it to a main topic. And the one before made it to just a, hey, check it out. All right. So we thank you. Oh, we do have a name. Okay. Look at that. It was Joel Starkey asked. So it must have came in on the voicemail name or something. But so thank you, Joel Starkey, asking a club question. So we're going to just open this up, and I just want to tell you right now that I'm very experienced with dealing with toxic club members, because on the mic with me is one of them.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very much.
the best solution I have is, if you can't beat them, join them. So I just bring Lurch right here. With
your friends closer, your enemies closer.
Yeah, I bring him here with his toxicity. And I just try to get through the day with him, because we've been together all day. He's been toxic all day, just wearing on me, giving me headaches. But sorry, Lurch. But
if you're watching this in video format, Patreons, you can see me staring,
waiting for me to just keep going. He's basically like
his bullshit over there.
He's just like this, rolling his hand, like, yeah. Words.
Where are you going with this?
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, Lurch is not a toxic member, guys, but
not usually.
Not usually. But we do have a lot of years with another club, and we've talked about that in the past. And then we got out of that more traditional setting, which we've always said in the past, which we have good memories and a lot of friends still, was the Blue Knights. We'll hash some of that. We started the first chapter here of the Blue Knights many, many years ago, and even before Law Abiding Biker Media. We ran that. I was the P, Lurch was the VP. We built that membership up pretty good. But over time, nothing happened that we didn't like about the club. And like I said, we still respect them. We respect all Law Abiding Biker clubs. It's never a competition. It's just that they have certain rules, and we want a little bit tighter, more strict, a little bit more militaristic, that shadowed our law enforcement careers a little bit more, so to speak. And so we separated. We handed off some wonderful gentlemen that run the club. And of course, we still know them, and it's great. It just wasn't working for us anymore in what we wanted to create. We wanted to create something from the ground up. So we left, and that is when the Sworn Few Law Enforcement, 100% Law Enforcement Motorcycle Club was created. And we've been running that ever since. We built it from the ground up. To give you a little context, it has grown. It started here, and then we added a couple other chapters briefly in the Washington State area, and now we branched out over time. California was one, Tennessee, and most recently was Maryland area, Baltimore. So we have spread out. We could have spread really fast. I guarantee, if we didn't care. And speaking of, and jump in anytime, Lurch, so I'm just spitballing it here. Mm-hmm. We certainly, by now, after that was, LAB's been around almost 8 years now this spring, and Sworn Few was around a couple of years before LAB, so it's like 10 years. Mm-hmm. I guarantee we could have a chapter in every state.
I run the email, and we get requests constantly. We have some information we send back to them so they can do the research and see if this is something that they want to do, which we'll kind of get into the steps of what it takes to become a member or a chapter in our club, and what we put in place to help keep toxic members from coming in. But we've grown really slowly, and because of our processes, we can only grow so fast. But yeah, if we grew really quick and just sold a patch to anybody that was in law enforcement and that wanted to be part of our club, we could have grown pretty fast. But we may have potentially came across somebody that was toxic.
Yep.
So we'll talk about here in a little bit what we've put in place to help stop that on the front end. If you do good recruiting and you bring people in right, you're most not likely going to have a toxic member. You're definitely going to have members that come and go. Life changes, things happen.
People have personal issues,
family, they move,
health.
they sell their financial, they sell their motorcycle, who knows, there's things that are going to cause people to come and go. And when they come and go in good standing, not a problem. But when it comes to toxic, if you do a lot of work on the front end, it'll help you in the long run.
What she said. I'm just saying, dude. We're going to go there. All right. Yeah, you got something else?
No.
Okay.
Yes, but not at the moment. I reserve my comment.
All right. So Lurch is right. And so we could have had a chapter. We get hit up unbelievable amount. And that's one of the things. And again, in no way, because I know we have Blue Knights listeners, there's other clubs that do it the same. This is not, we're better. We don't think we're better. It's not a put down. That's not what we wanted. And that was what Lurch said is where, the reason some of those other clubs are much bigger is they run under different bylaws, and that's okay because it works for them and there's nothing wrong with it. Where basically you can, if you're a law enforcement officer with the Blue Knights, all you have to do is show that you're a law enforcement officer and you're immediately patched in. So you can grow rapidly, but that's also one of the ways you can also get toxic members.
Right.
Because there is no vetting real process
and
that.
Just maybe different personalities, guys that don't necessarily fit with your group, and then so you get cliques. And by keeping it small and having a process that takes some time, and all the members of your club get to know that prospective member. By the time you make the decision to bring them in, you realize that they're a fit for your group. And everybody, even all the chapters that we have within Washington, and actually all the chapters we have, each chapter has its own personality.
Mm-hmm. True.
So you got to make sure that you bring the right people in the front end, which I see in your notes. We'll talk about kind of some of our processes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so obviously, and he kind of asked the question, which clearly he's thinking the right way. And I don't know what the situation is with him, or if he's in a club and has a toxic member, or he's trying to start a club and doesn't want to get a toxic member. Maybe he's writing bylaws. Remember, we did that.
Oh yeah.
And that's something that you'll want to do like up front. Like that's one of the most important things.
And don't rush through them. It took us several meetings over several months of revisions and, sending them back and forth before we came up with our final bylaws. And we did a pretty damn good job, I must say. But they're unique. They're unique for us and for our club.
We copied them from nobody. We made them from scratch. Like they're not written like other clubs. I've looked at other clubs. Ours are written, so much different, I think.
And we have edited them or made changes to them a little bit as we've gone along, but not big ones. We did a lot of work up front to make sure we got it right.
Yep.
So if you just don't be in a hurry, do your work, have good bylaws, and have good processes to bring people in.
Mm-hmm. Make them unique to your vision.
Yeah.
That's a problem. A lot of people just grab bylaws online. Sorry, I keep dropping my pen. A lot of people, copy them offline and try to get a cookie cutter that's going to work for their club.
Start with a blank piece of paper.
Start with your vision first, because your vision and what you want the club to be is going to dictate your bylaws.
Your mission statement. And then start getting into, your roles and responsibilities and how the club should operate and how you're going to bring people in and how long it takes and what the requirements are and whatnot.
Yep. Good call. And so take your time on those if that's the case, if you're just starting a club. And if you're going to join a club on that note, if you have specific visions or the way that you want to be in a specific club, then that's something you should research too before you get vested in a club. And that really comes full circle to time to vet people or probationary periods. Not only is that a period, a lot of people think it is, this might make sense. A lot of people think that a probationary period in a motorcycle club is for the club to strictly decide if that member is worthy and to get to know that member, when in actuality, that is a huge part of it. But the other big part of that is you as a probationary member should also be deciding if that club and those members and those values are for you. Because if they're not, you need to walk away. It doesn't mean it's a bad club. It means it doesn't fit you. And although we don't release those bylaws until you're a full member, we give a lot of inside hints and we talk a lot. Even though you don't get them in writing, we talk a lot and we listen more than we talk. Like we've taken some conference calls from chapters and things like that. I shouldn't have to ask you. The chapters that have made it have got on the phone with us, and we didn't have to hardly ask anything. They just said,
tell us about yourself. And they start talking
and
about
why you want to be with this club and what you think of this club,
what their vision are, what they're looking for. And especially I can speak specifically to Baltimore, which is our last chapter that joined on.
Our recent. Yeah.
With talking with them, Larry, their president over there, all we had to say is, tell us about yourself and why you're interested in the sworn few. And that dude went off and started talking about his experience with other clubs and what they're looking for. And he goes, you know what? After some of the experiences I've had over here with some of the clubs, I never really wanted to join a club. But then I saw your videos, saw some of your documentaries, thought, that sounds like something I'm interested in, and got to know us through some of that stuff. And he just laid out what his vision was for a club, and it was right on the money with the way we thought. So we knew it was a natural fit. So what you're saying is it's a two-way street. That hang around, get to know you, and probationary period is as much for us to, as a club, or a club to get to know the potential member, but it is for the potential member to get to know the club. So it's a two-way street.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Way to sum that up. So yeah, and I will piggyback off you there a little bit. Yeah, they were spot on, and that's what we found. When they can get on the phone and it's comfortable, or if it's in person, and just say the things that just music to your ears, like, okay, they get it. They get why we're different. And we really do consider ourselves, I don't want to, again, think it's arrogant or that we're better. We're different, and we're different for what we want to do and how we want to do it.
We're unique in our own way, just like other clubs are unique in their own way. They all have their vision, and we have ours. And when we talked to Larry that day on the phone, we knew it clicked. And I've spent hours on the phone talking with him since then, and it's like calling an old buddy. You talk for an hour, and you're like, dude, I got to go.
Right.
And, we act because we're so much distance in between us. We haven't met in person, but we've interacted over the phone, and you just know it, right? It just clicks. It feels right.
Yep. I agree. So that's actually, it's good timing, because that's some of our most recent stuff. So it hopefully gives you a little bit of insight. Now, bringing on a chapter is a lot more of a process than bringing on a member. And we've got processes in place for that. Some of the things are similar, yet some of them are different, just because you're talking about bringing on a small group of guys rather than one person. So where should we go from here? We can go so many different ways. Yeah.
When they're in the same state or the same city as you, it's easy. When they're across the United States, you have to do things like, a background check. And I'm not talking about running them through like our work kind of stuff. I'm talking about checking their social media, checking their and you can do paid background checks, but we would do it all legally. Yeah. Yes. But we definitely go through their socials, and their references, applications. We have an application that to fill out, has a bunch of information, and we take the time to follow up on that stuff to make sure that there's not something, hidden or hinky in their background. Mm-hmm. Yep, you do. And we'll get into, I like that you kind of went there. We'll get into some of our processes. No, it's fine. I went off the notes a little bit. Sorry. No, I was just riffing. I see I jumped down a couple of places. We're going to riff the whole time. Okay. Because there is no real organization to this episode. It's whatever we think we should talk about that would be helpful. So don't worry about that. We will talk a bit more about that. So I was going to go somewhere with that too. Sorry. No, that's okay. It's fine. The chapter versus the member. The other thing too is that was helpful for us just to talk about chapters, because I think even though this is somewhat of a narrowly focused question, I think that by expanding and talking about maybe some things that he didn't ask will be helpful to other people. So we're going to really
expand on this, the bubble a little bit, so to speak. So speaking of chapters, one of the things you have to decide, if we're going to stick to vetting right now and trying to find the right members, and with that topic and trying to find the right chapter, is you're going to have to figure out, like, especially if you're long distance, like, how are you going to do that? And so one of the ways, if you vet well and you really take that seriously, and the first way to take it seriously is not to give a shit how many members you have or how many chapters you have. You really have to not care. Like, it doesn't matter. If you really truly don't care, then you'll be in a position, to not make rash decisions and bring people on too quick. And so when you don't care and you only want the best of the best that fit your club, then, you obviously a first chapter, you're going to have to meet probably in person. We did that, right? So the first chapter that we brought, actually 2 chapters we brought on, that were in different states, we actually had to ride and meet them before. Now, they did all the other stuff online. We have a whole bunch of stuff, like a private Facebook group, and they post pictures and we communicate. We have a group me. We have processes for when we bring them into group me and introduce them to the rest of the chapter, or the club. And so we have all these processes in place, but meeting those clubs in person, we were very sure about them before we met them, but then once we met them, we were 100% sure. Now, once you start getting, which in this case, you get chapters, because we've done so much vetting for the current existing chapters, now we're able to go, when we get a chapter request and we think it's serious and we want to start putting them through the processes, we as the mother chapter here can basically pawn that responsibility and delegate. I should say, it's not pawning, it's delegating a very serious responsibility on another chapter, and said, listen, these guys are interesting. They're 2 hours from you. The mother chapter is giving you the blessing.
We're entrusting
you. Don't screw it up, and you better vet the hell out of them. But we know they will, because we know they get it.
Yep.
And there was zero concern about that with me.
Yeah, so we used our Tennessee chapter to meet up with the Baltimore chapter, the Maryland chapter, to vet them and hang out with them, and Baltimore took the initiative to ride down and meet our Soho chapter out of Tennessee there and spend a couple days with them and get to know them. And the Tennessee guys right away are like, yeah, these dudes get it. And so, as you said, we spent so much time through our process vetting and getting to know the Tennessee group that we fully trusted them to make sure that if we've decided you're our kind of guy,
and you made it
through our process, you know what it takes, you know what we're about, we trust you then now to meet with these guys. So it was a little different in this case because we were West Coast and East Coast, but we were able to use another chapter to vet those guys.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it worked well. And so, again, building on that foundation of vetting, that's as important, because I had zero concern, and I took for gospel what they reported back to us. And yes. I guarantee those guys said the green light, then we're going to say the green light. I mean, because they were in personal contact with them. So let's do this, and then we'll expand a little bit more.
Want to ride longer and treat your ass with some respect already?
Oh, my ass.
Get hooked up with a premium butt buffer seat cushion. This company of bikers developed a super thin hospital-grade seat cushion made of solid and elastic materials, and it's unlike gel pads that can get leak and punctured. That will leak if punctured. The butt buffer, this is only my second time reading this. The butt buffer is designed not to slide around your seat. Fits all motorcycles and stalls in seconds, cleans up easily, and helps to dampen vibrations. With plenty of models to choose from, they assure you'll have a comfortable ass when riding.
Ass.
That's what everybody wants. Head on over to Law Abiding Biker Store and check out our line of butt buffer seat cushions.
Big Daddy Keen and Goat have them in stock, ready to ship to you right now. Box them up with what?
There's one good time in every package.
It's one good time.
You open up the box and this thing pops right out. It's a good time. You'll feel better and life will be good. Sun will come out. Birds will chirp. Angels will sing. It's beautiful.
Right from the Law Abiding Biker Store. You heard it right from Lurch. All right. So diving in a little bit deeper on this subject matter. Let's see where we go from here. All right. So let's talk about our process for hang around. I'll let you talk about it if you're comfortable.
Sure.
Hang around to prospective member to full member and kind of what that looks like. Because we have one going through it right now. In fact, Squirt, who went on Sturgis, it's in the documentary. You'll see it, the film. When I come out with the Sturgis documentary, I'm 170 hours in.
Wow.
And, yeah. And I'm just stressing.
It's going to be epic, man. The amount of video that we took.
It's been a complicated one.
Yeah.
And
I look forward to it.
And I've still got.
I appreciate the work that you put in it because it's a thrill to watch as somebody that has been on those trips.
Yeah.
But I know what the bikers out there that just watch it.
You see the comments on our YouTube.
They feel like they're with us.
Yeah.
Because you've got a knack for it. You really
thanks,
do.
Man.
After the first one you did, when you were, like I said, you were talking and doing the voiceover and talking about your experience and everything, it's very awesome.
Yeah.
It just took me right back to being there. And I could see how somebody that wasn't even on that trip would feel like they're right there riding with us. So it just keeps getting better and better. Look forward to it.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, so that will be coming out. And I don't even know why.
Squirt went on the trip.
Oh, yeah. So on that, because I've been editing the documentary, Squirt was a hang-around, and by the end of the Sturgis trip, made it as probationary member.
Yeah, he'd been a hang-around for a little bit with the Big River chapter. And during that Sturgis trip, we all got to meet him and get to know him, and we all went, yeah, this is our kind of dude. But to talk about the process a little bit, the hang around or get to know you kind of period is where somebody has some interest, and they either approach us or, generally speaking, they approach us. Or
we don't recruit.
Yeah.
We've said it in the past. We've never recruited anybody.
So they get to know us. They reach out. They talk to us. We're like, hey, come on a ride, and so they ride with us. And you don't become a probationary member right away. We kind of have to that get to know you, that hang around, whatever you want to call it, period, is really important because you really honestly don't want to take somebody to the next step if you don't think they're going to succeed.
I don't want to invest any time in them if they're never going to make it in the first place. If the first ride we go on, I'm like, that guy's not. We're done here at this process.
Yeah, you're looking for you're looking to make sure that they can ride safely. You're looking to see that their
attitude, personality.
Yeah, they're a fit for the chapter and for the club as a whole. They make good decisions. They're not going to embarrass themselves or the club, and you get a good feeling about them. And at a certain point, you're like, as a group, either if it's your chapter trying to bring them in, your chapter in particular is responsible for these hangarounds, but you invite them to be. They don't ask to be a prospective member. At a certain point, you invite them to be a prospective member, but we don't get to that phase.
There's no time limit on that phase.
There's zero time limit on that phase. It could be just a short period of time if you get that funny feeling and you think it's right. It could be a long time. It depends on distance too, you know. As the mother chapter, Rick could probably tell you this, you know, as joining the mother chapter when he lived down in
Big Daddy
Tri-Cities, he's a ways away, you know, and so it takes longer because we got to hang around and get to know you. So there's a lot of factors that can come into play. If you're close and in short distance to one of our chapters, and it may take a little less time. If they already know who you are, it could take a little less time. So it just depends. Each one's different. It can be it could be a few months. It could be a year. There's really no time frame on the hang around period. It just, it gets to a certain point where, we feel that more likely than not, you should be successful through a probationary period.
Yeah. And so obviously, you said some of the things obviously our club is looking for. And I would be very similar to a lot of clubs, you know, they're fitting in, all that kind of stuff. Our club is a lot more specific. We look for a lot more things that meet our needs. And one of our things with our club is, can you ride? I don't just mean, are your skills perfect? Because we can always improve on those. Skills will improve the more you ride and the more group riding you do. But we do test group riding and pairs riding and just some stuff like that, like how comfortable are they? We don't do anything extreme till they get more comfortable. But we want to know that. How do they fit in a group setting? And then are these guys, are they willing to sign up every time we go riding? Within reason, because these guys are full-time Leos. And if they're working, they're working. We get it. But if they're not working, we want to see, is this guy just going to come out once? or is he going to chomp at the bit every time?
Yeah. Are they committed?
Yeah. Are they committed?
Do they love to ride?
Yeah. Can they do a 550 mile day on a non-touring bike? Because most of them come in. That's one of the things on the Sworn Few is
Yeah.
we've only made one guy in the history of our club, one guy so far that made it more than a year without a non-touring bike, because all of them within the first 6 months, less than a year, switched to touring, and that's Cowboy.
Yeah.
But he's switching.
Before
Next summer, he's going to have a touring bike.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Before we go on the California trip, I guarantee my bet is he was borderline on the Sturgis trip getting a touring bike. So just because we ride, we lay down miles. Now, a lot of us have other bar hopper bikes. That's fun. But we want to know, can this guy lay down miles? Is he going to complain? Is he not going to come out the next time? Is he worried about getting his bike dirty? Is he worried about riding in the rain just because it's raining a little bit? Stuff like that. We want to make sure this guy is understands this club is not about standing around looking pretty at events. We are about the experience of riding and the experience of visiting places and riding cross country and riding multiple states and the bonding that goes on during that. So the laughing, the joking, the poking, that kind of stuff. We got to make sure a guy's comfortable with all of that. And you can find out that really quick just in a hang around status. Because if they're not going to do it during hang around status, then they definitely ain't going to do it during probationary member status. So they're never going to make it. You're going to find out really quick.
I worked for a guy in law enforcement, and in the division that we were in, we were doing a training for the group that we were working for. And one of the things he would say when these guys were in training was, Matt, this is the best they're ever going to be. This is the best they're ever going to be. So if we're having problems with them now, we should really consider whether or not we want to continue them on to the next step. So saying that, piggybacking off of what you said, yeah, in your probationary period, they're trying hard. They want to fit in. That's the best they're ever going to be. So if you're having doubts,
not their probation, but their hang around,
hang around, whatever.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Either one. In those periods, if you're having doubts, man, you got to listen to what your doubts are telling you.
Yep.
Because that's the best they're potentially ever going to be.
That's the easiest time to not get the toxic member or get the member that's just not going to fit in. And again, if you go in the mindset of not caring about a number.
Quality over quantity.
Just never care about numbers.
Nope.
Even if you only have a chapter or two, who cares? It's two brothers that aren't going to have problems with each other.
I'd rather have a few good brothers than a bunch of so-so.
Yep.
Or ones I don't know. At some point, if this thing keeps going, we're going to grow bigger and bigger. It's been 10 years and we have 1, 2, 3, 5 chapters. Mm-hmm. So, in another 10 years, maybe we got 10, whatever.
Yep.
At some point it'll get it may get large. It'll never be as large as some of these other clubs, but our goal is to hopefully be at a point where we know everybody.
Yep. I agree.
So quality over quantity.
Yep. And that's right. It says on the front page of the Sworn Few Law Enforcement Motorcycle website, right there, quality over quantity. So, speaking of, sorry, a little neck bubble there.
You know what? I've never known a guy that blew more neck bubbles than you.
It's when I drink these IPAs, dude.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what it is. So on the time limits, we already said that probation or hang around with our club. Each club does this different, but I'm just giving you insight into our club. A hang around period, there's no time limit. We don't care. We don't even tell them. Just is what it is. It's really not even a lot of talking about it. Don't ask a lot of questions. Just start riding with us. And then after you ride, sometimes then you'll know. And then we'll know, is this guy a fit?
Right.
And the club is really going to, at that point, sit you down for the most part and go, okay, then you're going to have the conversation okay, how serious are you about this club? Because you seem to like it. You seem to like to ride. You seem to be fitting in okay. What's your intention? And then, that's the time. Or they come to us and say, hey, what do I need to do now? That's usually how it works is I really like riding with you guys. I'm having a ball. You can see it in their face. Especially the guys that fit in our club because we're riding. This. Yeah, I like this. You guys ride. We've heard that so much. I went with this club and I tried this club and these guys just sit around. They go to lunch and back, and that's all they do. And they get to our club and these guys freaking dirt, mud, just dirty, riding hard, laying down the miles. So at that point, that's when you would want to as a probationary or a hang-around member is say, hey, okay, I really like this. What's the next step? And then we tell them, okay, well, at some point, if you keep hanging with us, you're going to, if we feel right, we're going to put you to probationary status. So that's what they're working for. That's what Squirt was working for. Once we decide, okay, we're going ahead, ready to make this more formal. We're willing to invest more time in this guy, more effort. We're going to bring in a little bit closer, give him a little more knowledge of the club. That's when we make you a probationary member. Once you're a probationary member, our bylaws are minimum. I don't care if you're the most squared away, badass, fit in guy, you will do a minimum. And usually it's a lot longer. Well, I shouldn't say a lot longer because we've been pretty lucky with guys, but it's longer.
Yeah. We have had some go longer. And again, it's just because of
distance
more than anything.
Yeah.
And maybe time of the year too.
Right.
If you do your probationary period during the summer, we're doing a lot of riding, then we're spending a lot of time together. But if you luck out, if you will, in probation over a winter period, it just might take a little longer because we got to get to a point where the members feel comfortable voting you in, which you'll talk about. I saw it on our list there about how many members it takes to vote somebody in.
Yep. Good. And so minimum 6 months, if I didn't say it, minimum 6 months, and it can go as long as we want because we don't care how many members we have. And I keep going back to that, but I'm serious about that. And that's why it's like zero stress. It's like, we don't care if we'll get as many members that actually fit. And that's all we care about. So then after once they make the probationary period, if they make that, then at whatever point we feel, then we'll talk about voting in a minute, but then they can make full member, full patch status. And then we're going to get a little bit deeper into that. So let's do this. Hey, Bikeaholics, searching for new and exciting motorcycle products? Zero 3D has the products you dream about for your bike. Check out their wide variety of innovative products for your Harley-Davidson and Honda Goldwing motorcycles. Zero 3D's got your back with chrome and black parts, lighting, and other comfort products. No modifying, cutting, grinding, or welding for an easy installation. That equals less time installing and more time riding. Zero 3D has a design team with team of riders with over 40 years experience with a passion for design and innovation. Zero Goldstrike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. They pride themselves on great customer service. Got a call? Got a question? God.
Tongue-tied.
2 episodes, dude.
Yeah.
2 episodes back to back. Get in touch with them if you got a question, guys. Sales at zero3d.com. Give them a call, 715-808-0027. Check out your local Harley or Honda dealership and ask for Zero or Goldstrike parts. I like it. A new leader has emerged, Lurch.
Yes.
So check out Zero 3D's custom line of Goldstrike products for the all-new Honda Goldwingers. We know we got a lot of Goldwinger listeners, fanatics, love it. Better yet, help support us. Head over to the Law-Abiding Biker store and check out our full line of Zero 3D products. Oh, yeah. There you go. All right. So
one of the things we do before moving on is coming out of a hang-around status into a prospective status still takes 100% vote of our chapter to move you on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that was the next. So that's good. So voting, let's talk a little bit more about voting. And that's one of the things that we've talked about in the past is this is the way you get rid of a toxic member. You never get them in your club. And the way you do that is we are so not worried again about numbers that Lurch, like he said, 100%.
100% to move into perspective.
Into perspective.
And another 100% to become a full member. Yeah.
And so what that does for you guys, here's the issue when we wrote our bylaws that I had. We talked about this. The problem is if you don't care about numbers, then you don't care about numbers. So if you don't care about numbers, then why, if one person has an issue with somebody, if one person, had something where they didn't like, and I don't want people to be like super picky, like his nose it's too big, or something like that. I'm talking about legitimate concern, and they didn't want to vote, then that member just simply can't be in the club. Because the problem with that is, and we've all seen it, whether it's your place of employment, whether it's a group of friends, whether it's in a family environment, everybody can get along. But if there's one person that has an issue with that person and they get in, because a lot of clubs are like 70% vote, 60% vote, That's bad.
Majority.
If there's people that don't like that or are having problems with that person, that's exactly how you get a toxic member. Now you've got majority of the club that says, okay, but you've got these 4 members or 5 members that saw something that they didn't like. And so that's always going to be a problem with them from the get-go. They're going to be like, that wasn't the guy I voted in. It's kind of like at our departments, right? Like I'd have never hired that guy, but it's fine because that's a department, it's government, it's in a job. But there's guys like that where like, I should have never hired that guy. That creates problems because there's just a lack of trust right off the bat and, things like that. So if somebody doesn't, that's going to fester. And when that festers over time, now you don't only have one toxic member, the person that maybe got in that shouldn't have got in because they didn't get 100% voted. Now he's been toxic to other people in the club, and those people can turn toxic.
Like a cancer. Negativity and toxicity just breeds like cancer, man. If you get it in, you got to cut it out, which we'll talk about identifying cutting it out because that was part of the question. Obviously, you don't want to let it in the first place because it'll fester, man, and you'll end up getting cliques and alliances forming and whatnot. So. Again, just do all the work on the front end. If you're the one guy that says, I don't think this person should be voted in and this is why, have the balls to say it.
Yep, exactly. And everybody should respect you.
Yep.
And again, if you don't care about numbers, I keep saying it, then it's not going to be an issue with anybody. They're going to be like, okay, I guess we don't have another member and we'll shoot for the next one. And and I know those things are hard, but they have to be done up front. Again, so you don't.
It's crucial that you do it.
So you don't get that toxic member, and then him get his toxicity on other people within the club. Okay, so I feel like we've covered that well. 100% member vote. So let's move on, Lurch. Maybe to, unless you see another route we can go, but we can move on to. Let's say we've done all those things.
Somebody makes it through.
Now, just because you don't have a toxic member doesn't mean humans are humans. And you can have the perfect vetting processes and probationary periods. There still can be sometimes, it's not necessarily toxic. Toxic is it's an interesting word to me because I don't know exactly. That's subjective.
Yeah, for me, toxic.
Like what's toxic, or is it a problem?
Yeah, toxic seems like more than a problem. For me, toxic seems like somebody that's negative, that's talking shit, that's building alliances and trying to turn people and creating cliques. I mean, toxic's bad. Before we get to that, maybe we'll talk about just how do you deal with normal issues and problems and maybe some either personality conflicts or maybe some things that happen. How do we resolve issues between members?
You want to talk about it?
Let's do that first. Yeah.
Do you want to do it, or do you want me to?
The biggest thing is that we are all humans. We're going to have some disagreements, but it's important that we do not harbor those and keep them to ourselves. You got to talk about it. You got to get it out. And the first thing you have to do in a group setting is you have to go to the person that you've had some type of issue with and have a conversation. You got to have the balls to walk up to them and go, Ryan, you pissed me off, and this is why, and have a conversation, because you'd be surprised what can be resolved through face-to-face conversations. If I have a problem with Justin, but I don't talk to Justin about it, and I just bitch about it to you, that's not doing anything. Yep. That is creating potential problems and toxicity, because maybe you agree with me, you weren't even part of the problem, but you go, yeah, that's bullshit. Justin shouldn't have done that. The first step is
Should I text you over that?
Hell no.
Oh, text, interesting. Should I email you?
No.
Oh, really?
No.
This is where people fail.
Yeah.
I failed at it before. Not in our club and setting, but
I have in work settings, not because of having an issue with somebody, just I've had issues with written communications that I thought were clear, or non-offensive, and it still bothers somebody. So the problem,
but it wouldn't have if you'd have told it to their face, because they would have saw emotion behind it, right? This is the problem with a lot of clubs. It's with everything these days is
written communication.
Face to face is super important.
People assume maybe what you said, or not what you said, but how you said it. And if they're having a bad day, they're going to take it differently. So you really have to have that face-to-face communication. So if you're having a problem with somebody, do not text them, do not email them. at a minimum, call them. Even better, go, hey, bro,
Take them out for a beer.
let's go.
Can we chat?
Can we go chat and have a face-to-face conversation? Because it's amazing what you can fix and handle through face-to-face communications. Because a lot of it is
body language.
Is simply a misunderstanding, and it creates a lot of problems. So the first thing if you're having problems between members, those members should talk it out.
Yep.
If
70% of communication is body language, right?
At least, yeah.
Something like that. I just went to a class on it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
It's a big part of it. We don't necessarily always hear what each other is saying, but we feel it and we see it.
Yep. Are they on the defense? Are they on the,
right.
Are they actually relaxed about it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
How big a deal is it to them? Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then I would say after that, if the members cannot come to some type of understanding, then they need to bring in a trusted third party where even it doesn't have to be the president, it doesn't have to be the VP, sergeant at arms or whatever. It doesn't have to necessarily be a titled position, but it should be somebody that the two of those people entrust. A Switzerland, if you will, somebody that's not involved in the issue, that can come in and look at it, take a step back and look at that issue and go, you're right here or you're wrong here. And sometimes just having that impartial person from the outside giving you a different view will give you a little bit of different light on it. So my encouragement would be to work it out between members. If you can't do that, then get somebody else in the club involved. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the president or the vice president, just somebody, get a mediator involved. Mm-hmm. A lot of it can be worked out just between member to member, or bringing in a third party, a mediator, if you will. Yeah.
And so one of the questions in companies and in law enforcement, even on interviews, and I don't know this throughout the nation, I'm just telling you that I know this to be a fact in a lot of law enforcement interviews. Here's the question, and it peels over to law enforcement and a lot of other industries too. And the question is, and this will kind of sum up what we're saying, is if Lurch is the applicant here and I'm the interviewer, say, Lurch, tell me this, here's the question. You're out on a call and you're with a coworker, and that coworker doesn't do anything like unethical or illegal, but that coworker does something or says something that maybe, let's just say he says something that you feel is a little rude to somebody, and that, you wouldn't have said it that way and you'd think it's a little bit disrespectful to that person. What do you do? What's your first step? Do you go to a sergeant?
No.
Do you go to a captain?
No.
Do you go to a lieutenant and make a formal complaint? No. What do you do?
I go to that person and ask them, because I don't know what's going on in their world, or maybe I heard it wrong.
Right. Or maybe they had a reason. Maybe they dealt with the person before.
Yeah. Don't assume that because you heard something you thought was rude, that it was rude and they were wrong, because you don't know what the situation is between those two. You may have heard something wrong. You got to clarify and give that person the opportunity to explain the interaction, and it may be completely justified. Don't make an assumption.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. And yes, you want to go basically to that person first and see if you can work it out. Now, if that person goes, I didn't have a reason, F you, that guy, I believe I talk to everybody like that. Well, then if you need to, then you can take it to the next level. But you always start at, as long as it's not like something like murder. Let's get real. If it's something that's completely like, you have to go straight to the top, right?
If it's not unethical, illegal, or immoral.
There you go. Thank you. Well said. That's exactly what I meant to say. All right. So that's always one of the first questions that will transfer right over to a club setting. And so the last thing you want to do in those situations is, take something like that. And that's what happens a lot. And I'm telling you, is two members will have a problem in the club, and they'll both call an officer of the club separately and go, and bitch. And then the other guy will call him bitch. And now you've got a third party involved. And just because it's an officer of a club doesn't mean that he's supposed to resolve all situations and stuff like that. And really, that's not solving anything. It doesn't solve it, because, especially if it's not illegal, immoral, or unethical, right? Okay, well, that's too bad. You both have a disagreement. So the officer, exactly. And so as an officer, a good officer is going to tell you right away, ain't my problem. Fix it. Both of you fix it now. and go talk to each other, because I'm not going to be in the middle of this, and you better both get it fixed. Because if we have to get involved, then it's obviously escalated a little problem you guys couldn't fix. And so, so you got to get those guys together. Face to face is the best, like Lurch says. And a lot of those problems, and the quicker the better. As soon as both call you and have an issue, then it would be the time to, I'm not saying me personally or any experience I've had, I'm just saying in general, whether it's a club, whether it's a job, thing, you get those employees together.
They will fester in time if you don't deal with it.
Absolutely. And then make sure, follow up, that they had that meeting. And just because you do want to show a vested interest too, as a, whatever organization is, as a leader, that you do have a vested interest that it got worked out. And normally, obviously it does in those situations. So anything else?
That's some conflict resolution. But now let's say we cannot, find a resolution to that conflict, or the person is just toxic and the majority of the club agrees. Then what do we do?
Time for a code red.
We'll talk about it after Rick Rack. Are you searching for the easiest and quickest detachable luggage system for your motorcycle? Rick Rack has just what you're looking for. Forget all those frustrating straps and bungee cords that can come loose and slap your paint. Check out one of Rick Rack's awesome quick attach strapless luggage rack systems. This father and son team designed something really special that you can't find anywhere else. Yep, these guys ride so they truly understand the need of bikers. The Rick Rack quick attach system is strong, durable, and secure with a lockable system. Also, check out their full line of quality touring bags to accompany your quick detach system. Once you go Rick Rack, you'll never go back. What are you waiting for, bikeaholics? Head on over to Law Abiding Biker Store and check out our full line of Rick Rack systems and bags. lawabidingbiker.com/store.
Nice. All right, so we're going to finish it up here, and we're going to wind it right down. We're right at about an hour. This will be perfect. So let's talk about, your question was, what if you already have a toxic member? And we talked about background checks. Talk to their acquaintances. You can do a legal background check. Obviously, if you're worried about criminal stuff, guys, pay for it online. You can get anything you want. You can go as far as talking to their friends in their neighborhood. You can find out a lot about people just by talking to maybe acquaintances they know or people they've dealt with. Get on, like Lurt says, get on their social media. See if they're, chipping at other people on social media. If they're a shit stir kind of person. Depends what you're looking for in your club.
Yeah.
We aren't looking for that. We want a professional image. We want just professionalism like we would expect a law enforcement officer to have. A good, hardworking law enforcement officer to kind of follow a lot of the same stuff, that you don't need to be out there, posting all kinds of craziness and hate and political stuff. And just, you kind of gotta, you want to hold a good image, basically, and have a good image of your club. So use all the things that are at your disposal online. It's amazing what's at your disposal now if you know how to use it, and find out a lot about people. Talk to their department in our case. A lot of ours are cross departments. We all know people from different departments. You can ask, hey, this guy is interested in our club. What do you work with them? Oh, what do you think of him? You can find out, right?
Yep.
So the sky's the limit. It's just how far you want to take it, or especially if you have concerns about somebody, you may have to dig just a little bit deeper and use some of the things that I just said. Like you may want to go a little bit further, like somebody you graduated with from the academy or something back in the day, or depending on what club you're talking about. It may not be a Leo club, but somebody in the same industry or something like that. So, all right. So we have a person now that is toxic, and you've tried everything you can to resolve the issues. Yep. And it ain't getting fixed. What do you do? Yep. So at that point, then I would have your officers, depending on how your bylaws have your chain of command set up and the authority within your club, is probably in our case would bring that, I'm sure Lurch and I, as the P and VP of the mother chapter, would probably bring that person in and have a sit down with them and hash it out the same way that they tried to hash it out with the, with the other member. And if they're the ones, obviously, if we're talking about, I guess I need to preface this, Lurch, by saying this is something that is a toxic type. It's really a personnel issue. It's not like they committed because obviously if they committed something against the bylaws of the club, then they're ousted. Right. That's easy. Or they're suspended.
Bring a vote, suspend them.
We can suspend them.
We've got suspensions. Yep. We've got all kinds of stuff.
And we could suspend them just for not getting along with other club members. That's at our disposal, where it'd be like, hey, so we'd sit them down, of course, try to work it out, and tell them, here's the consequences. Like, if they didn't want to resolve the issue and they clearly, and we also want to dig in to their personal life a little bit, because we all know, and it goes that across industries, a lot of times the reason people act up in environments like that is because they're having serious issues. Maybe it's medical issues. Maybe they're going through a divorce.
Personal life.
Yeah. And so if we can dial in on that and maybe offer them some assistance and resources for whatever is going on in their personal life that's bleeding over in the club, and there can be a temporary leave of absence for that until they get their shit squared away, basically, and tell them, we're here, we're going to help you take a leave of absence. And that way you don't have to deal with club stuff. We're going to try to work with them as possible. But if they're, at the end of the day, if they're just a jackass and they're just at some weird place, then we do have ability for suspensions up to complete removal from the club. And that would take a chapter vote. We have specific things in place for that, where the mother chapter can make a vote, basically to have full removal of a member, and stuff like that. So, you got to have all those, and that's what it all goes back. We're just doing full circle. What me and Lurch started this episode saying,
bylaws.
You better have your bylaws in place for stuff like this. Even if you don't think it will happen, it can happen, because people are humans, and no matter how hard you try, some people can just go off the deep end. And you've got to have some protections for the club, the reputation of the club, and make sure you leave enough authority within your mother chapter or whatever that is, however you do it. There's so many different ways you can do that, but make sure that you leave an ability to suspend, to remove, full removal, what kind of vote that looks like for your specific club or chapter. And if you have to remove somebody, you know what? You have to remove them. But hopefully you have tried everything, up to that point, and everything we've talked about, to at least try to work with them and find out if it is a personal issue or a life issue or something, or most of the time it is. I'll just tell you that. Most of the time they're going through a whole bunch of other turmoil in their personal life that you're not aware of. And certainly when you put it to them like that, like, we're here to help you, but take a leave of absence, get your affairs straight. If you need anything from us, you're still one of our brothers, kind of deal, and we're going to work through it. But ultimately, if they're not going to get along and they're just bucking and puffing their chest, then you better have the authorities to remove that person if you need to.
Yeah, don't rush to removal and vote now. Do everything you can to make it right, and to work with the people to,
because they're a brother after all.
Yeah,
they made it in. They are a brother until they just till you have the last straw, right?
But have those processes in place in your bylaws if it comes down to it, that you can vote them out. Just don't rush towards it. Use all the tools and resources that you have to try to correct the behavior. But at a certain point, if you have to, have the teeth in your bylaws to have the vote and remove somebody.
Yep. Well said. And at the end of the day, here's to sum it up. The whole thing we've been talking about here is communications. The key to resolving a toxic member, whether it's in an organization, whether it's in a club, is proper communications. And we've keyed on that throughout this podcast episode, is they need to communicate with each other. And again, I'm urging you, these things do not get hashed out over email. They don't get hashed over text. Phone call at minimum, but I would even say the phone call is just to make the meeting to where you're going to meet in person. The phone call, and don't even email, we need to meet. That rubs people wrong, okay?
It makes you concerned right away, put you on the defense
exactly.
a little bit. Yeah.
What's the difference between me going, hey, Lurch, on a text, and we're already pissed at each other, and going, where do you want to meet? I need to meet you next week. Well, fuck you. I ain't meeting you. I don't need to meet you. You need to meet me for what? You got no shit on me. Okay. Here's the deal. I call Lurch and I say, hey, bro, would you be willing? Right? It's just communication style.
Delivery.
Yeah, delivery. Say, hey, Lurch, I know there's some stuff going on. Would you have the time to at least sit down? I just want to I'll buy you a beer, bro. We'll buy dinner. No, nothing serious strings. Can I just chill with you for a minute? You know what? That's how you get. Now, if they refuse, obviously,
well, you had beer.
Yeah, you had your beer. Yeah, right. I know Lurch. I know Lurch's soft spot. So, how about 2 beers? I'll get him to say anything do anything I want. So, probably go home with me. Be my date for the night.
One more, and I'll love you.
But it is, guys. You got to get off this, and I see it in my organization. I'm guilty of it sometimes, especially if it's a contentious issue. You just got to get that voice, and even without body language, just that voice on the phone, and to realize you're not yelling, you're not screaming, and hey, would you be willing to get together with me? I just want to, let's have dinner and a beer, bro, and just talk a little bit. It's, you be willing to do that? We can ride. I can ride there. You can ride down here. What do you want to, it's just real low key. Then when you get there, you can have the more real conversation, but that is the key to resolving most issues. Doesn't mean you still won't have a little bit of, pissed about a certain thing, but you understand each other. You agree to disagree a little bit, as long as it's not a huge issue.
Yeah. When you're in front of each other there, you have to have
ain't as tough when you're in front of somebody.
Yeah. It's a way to put it, but you have to have a lot more, decorum and respect. I mean, you can't act like an asshole in front of each other. It's much more difficult.
Yes.
It's just when you're in front of each other, you tend to be more, I don't even know what the word is, but
civil.
Civil. Thank you. Just it's a better situation. It's easy to type something and send it off
in all caps.
Yeah. And be, curt and to the point, and not have to, be civil. You're right. Civil is is the word I'm looking for. When you're face to face, it's hard to be a keyboard tough guy asshole.
Yep.
You have to.
Humans.
It's
human nature.
It's just human nature. You end up being more civil when you're face to face because you're looking at each other eye to eye.
Yep.
You're looking into each other's souls, if you will. I mean, the windows are the eye to the soul, right? So when you're looking at each other, you can tell how each other are feeling, and it's hard to have misunderstandings when you're face to face.
Yep, it is. Well said. And on that bombshell, I think we should take it on out of here. What do you say? We could keep going, guys. I hope we didn't go round and round too much on that episode, but I think that we covered enough. We haven't talked about it in a long time, club stuff.
Yeah.
And it is a good one.
It's a good question.
It is, and I hope we didn't make it seem easy. I'm not saying it's easy.
No.
Nothing's easy when it comes to personnel issues. No matter what organization, that's an employer's number one headache. Every employer is personnel and employees, employee management, employee communications. It's not a lot different in a club. Luckily, in a club, it's a social club. It's a biker club, and we really don't have to follow any state laws or employment things or anything like that. We get to just really say, and our club isn't responsible for making money for a company, so we really don't care how many people we have. So it's a really cool place to be in when it's a, nonprofit or whatever it is. It's like, we don't care. We don't have to make money. We don't owe anybody anything, and we can just take our own time, and we can kind of do our own thing and write our bylaws the way we want and make it work for us. So it is kind of a neat position to be in rather than, we're not a company, we're not a business as far as the club goes, the Sworn Few MC. And so there's just a lot less pressure when it comes to that. But
the success of the club is our brotherhood and us all getting along
and not having
a good
this
time. Yeah,
right. Our success is not having to deal with a toxic member.
That's how we measure our success, is by quality over quantity and by brotherhood. So if you measure your success through brotherhood and getting along and enjoying each other, how can you fail?
Yep. And if you're trying to get in a club and you see any of that, run.
Yeah.
If you talk to members and you're just in hang around status, don't be so eager to get with the club. There's lots of clubs. Shop around and find one that, if you're hearing that kind of stuff and you're hang around, run.
And if you can't find the one that you fit into or they fit you, start your own.
Yeah, exactly. We've got lots of episodes right on this podcast. Yep. Search them on how to start a club and what we did to start a club, and start it from the ground up and make it what you want it to be. Oh man, nice. Thanks guys for being here. for chilling with us. Thanks for the question. We love that. What should we do here?
Do an Amazon. We haven't done that in a while.
Oh, nice. We'll just do an Amazon affiliate. Nice. Don't forget, guys, there's obviously anytime you want to hit any of our affiliate banners, it's lawabidingbiker.com/banners. We've got a lot of different motorcycle companies there, Amazon, a bunch of other stuff. If you click through any of those and make a purchase, we do get a small commission, especially our Amazon affiliate link. Anytime. Of course, over there on the banners page is the Amazon, but you can also go directly to lawabidingbiker.com/Amazon. And by going there, anything you purchase from Amazon, doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't even matter if it's pink panties. Doesn't even have to be motorcycle stuff. Whatever you purchase from Amazon.
Whatever your thing is. Butt plugs, latex, plastic.
Exactly. We do get a small kickback, and we appreciate that. So lawabidingbiker.com/Amazon. Just bookmark that baby in your web browser. Once you go there, lawabidingbiker.com/Amazon. Bookmark it. Call it Amazon Lab. Law Abiding Biker Amazon, whatever it is. And anytime you're going to go shop on Amazon, you can just go to Law Abiding Biker Amazon, click that link. Anything you purchase, it's that simple. We will get a small commission, and it helps put a little fuel in the Law Abiding Biker gas tank so we can keep this thing heading on down the road. We went past our outro, but that's okay.
That happens sometimes.
It happens. We're out of here, guys. Thanks.
Bye.